There we go.
Do you want me to do the reading?
If you want to.
Okay, so welcome to Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. How has food impacted you? Join Mary as she tickles your taste buds with her salty wit and her exceptional palate, all whilst guiding us through the land of low sodium living. Brought to you in part by the support of Reeses Barkery and Pawtique.
I think Reeses Barkery and Pawtique.
And you reach them at reesesbarkery.com, 815-363-7297. Obviously, you all can tell that Kent is not here producing, so Mary is stuck with me, Steph.
Hey, man.
So we're making it work.
I would much rather have somebody here to help me produce my show than produce it myself, because I, as you can tell by the gracefulness of me sharing out my show and doing everything at the same time, and very smooth and streamlined in this entire process, because we are PRO professionals here. One more share to my people, and we should be good. I say my people like I'm some freaking Hebrew walking across the desert or something.
Hey, Ted. Oh, man, I thought my show was his favorite show.
No. See, he's a liar. Ted's a liar. Oh, I didn't invite Gary. I hope Gary from Singapore finds me this morning. So we have, you know what? It's a good one. How I get to ask you how to say your last name.
Okay, good. Especially because I screwed up your name on my post.
I know. That's how I started my morning. Is my co-host, my guest here, who I told myself that you just like to spell things wrong based on the
okay, I'll go with that.
The board yesterday. So I just assumed, but you're not the only one that spelled my name wrong, because somebody else, we had a schedule posted, and you can sign up for the schedules. So
okay.
I got a message this morning that said apparently I'm Mark Schepp on that. Oh. So they spelled my first name wrong this morning, and you spelled my last name wrong.
Well, I threw a W into your last name to stand for that. How wonderfully wacky and wondrous you are. That's why I threw the W cheesy in there.
It's like a bad 80s come on line. So how do you say your last name?
It is Jalove.
Jalove. Oh, see, I would have gotten it right. I would have totally gotten it right.
You can also say Jalove.
Oh, my gosh.
If you prefer that.
That is cheesy. But I love it. Master Happiness. So yes. Where does Master Happiness come from?
Okay, so I just looked at this and I saw in the world there's too much sadness, too much fear,
Agreed.
Too much anger.
Agreed.
All right, and I want people to pursue happiness. And what I tell people is I don't want you to just be good at it or great at it. I want you to learn to master happiness.
That's amazing.
Okay, and a lot of people call me the master of happiness, and I have to keep changing them. No. I'm learning to master happiness like everyone else. I have bad days too. Yes. So my company is Master Happiness. I am not the master of happiness.
Well, it's good to be humble.
Well, thank you.
That's good to be humble. So this whole series, how has food impacted you? Obviously, for those that follow the show, they know that I have liver disease and I have transverse myelitis, which most people don't even know what it is, including my doctors.
Including your guest.
So transverse myelitis is the same thing that MS patients have.
Okay.
Your immune system essentially eats a hole in the fat that protects your nervous system. Wow. So with MS patients, it happens over and over and over again. So you get a lot of lesions on your spinal cord and your brain, causing damage in different ways, shapes, or forms. So your debilitating symptoms could be different from one person to the next. Mine happened once. I have a lesion at T6, T7, so it's right between my shoulder blades, that caused permanent partial paralysis.
Wow.
So all my stuff's messed up. So food, to me, I mean, it's obvious that food has impacted my life significantly. And the thing that I love is that most people have no clue how food impacts them.
Okay. I would agree with that.
Yes. So it's fun for me to find out how, because there's certain people like myself where food has significantly impacted my life.
Sure.
I use food so I'm not on any medications, which is unheard of for somebody with advanced cirrhosis. And from an inflammatory aspect, the same thing. When you have caffeine, sugars, they cause an inflammatory response in your body that most people can't feel. You don't even know that it happens. But when you have a hole in your spine, you know that it happens.
Gotcha.
So I love coffee. I love coffee.
Same here.
I'm a coffee addict. Our producer, Steph, who all of you probably know from Steph's books, she's my fellow cohort and coffee addict and also fellow ice cream addict, usually my date when I was doing it last year. I haven't had time this year. We used to do Thursday night ice cream.
Okay.
And sugar is probably one of the worst things. Even though my show is about low sodium, sugar is way worse for you than anything else. But I can feel that inflammation almost instantly.
Really? Okay.
Literally almost instantly.
I wonder if we all can feel that, but we kind of ignore it. Like
Correct.
the older I get, I think I feel more of the impact of the food I eat. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like going, oh, well, that's interesting. It's not that bad. I'll eat more. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I feel awful. Okay.
That's the thing though, is I always say that you don't know how bad you feel until you feel better.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yes.
And it's both physically and psychologically.
Right.
Until you learn how to eat better and feel better physically, or until you learn how to cope with certain things in your life to feel better and deal better emotionally, you don't know how bad you feel until you feel better. And you're 100% correct. And the number one thing to show people that they don't know how things are impacting their body is water.
Okay.
Because the vast majority of people on the face of the planet cannot tell the difference between hunger and thirst.
Okay, I'll buy that.
So until you're so parched that you're literally, your mouth is dry, your skin is dry, and you're going, holy crap, I'm dying. That is when you realize you're thirsty, when 90% of the time, the reason you're snacking and eating food is because your body's thirsty. You just don't know the difference.
I'll take it a step further. I think the last time I was hungry, I was probably 6 months old. Okay. In other words, what happens is I just like to eat. I just eat.
Same.
And what happens, I see food and I feel my stomach gurgle. Oh, I must be hungry. So I have to eat that.
Right.
So the actual true feeling of hunger, I really couldn't tell you if I could define it.
That's fine.
Yeah. Because I'll go, I'm really hungry. Wait 30 seconds. I'm not hungry anymore. Mm-hmm. Okay. I see food. I'm going to get hungry.
Oh, all I have to, if somebody talks about tacos.
Oh, yeah. And then my mouth starts to water a little bit. Right. Everything. Yeah.
The next thing is, now I'm going to have tacos for lunch.
Well, it's too bad I brought bacon, but you can't have that. No, I can't. I apologize because that's loaded with sodium. I'm testing you, and you're doing a great job.
So you want to know the funny thing is with bacon.
Yes.
It is the majority of the sodium is in the meat, not the grease.
Okay, so I should eat the grease?
So I will cook with bacon grease all the time to get the flavor of bacon without the sodium of bacon.
So I want to tell you a funny story. You'll love this. So I used to do a lot of trade shows in the business I was in, and there was this guy, you mentioned Hebrew earlier.
Yes.
He was a Jewish guy, very, very practicing, right? He wouldn't eat pork, anything. But when we traveled, he ate so much bacon, and he said, it's okay when I'm traveling for some reason. Like, he made this excuse. So, when you go to a trade show, the hotels have these big trays of bacon and all this food. So we're sitting there eating, and I'm seeing him eat French toast. And I go, where'd you get the French toast? And he goes, oh, but there. I'm like, I didn't see they don't have French toast. We go realize they had eaten all the bacon out of the tray, and the bread that was laying at the bottom that absorbs all the bacon grease, he scooped that out, and he thought that was French toast. And part of me was going, oh my God, you are instantly going to die. And part of me was so jealous.
Right.
Also going, I never thought of that.
That would be I'm going to do that in the future if I ever make bacon again. Because we do actually have bacon occasionally. We'll treat and make either A, I'll make my own bacon, or B, I will get low sodium bacon. Yeah. But now anytime I make bacon again, I'm going to put a couple slices of bread on the bottom of it and pour some syrup over it.
There you go. Make it that special French toast.
So it's funny that you talk about someone making a choice like that. And I've always called it justifiable license.
Okay, sure.
When my liver failed, the amount of people that I started to encounter that had liver disease, it was surprising. It's like you buy a Jeep and everybody drives a Jeep. Right. So I started finding all these people that had liver disease, and everybody kept saying, well, I quit smoking or I quit drinking. So I can still smoke. Like, I gave up drinking because I had to, because I have liver disease.
So I can do this.
So I don't have to give up everything. I gave up one thing.
Yeah.
Like you give yourself justifiable license.
Oh, sure.
To do just about anything that you want to do.
Right.
And then I'm looking at them going, you wonder why you're still on 17 medications and visiting your doctor every day. That's the exact reason.
Right.
so once I discovered how much food affected me and started making these changes, they're not easy changes to make. But it's amazing how sensitive you become. So the hardest part for me was to not piss and moan about it.
Okay.
Because when you go out, you want, especially being someone that likes to talk, you go somewhere, you're like, oh, you just want to be like, oh, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. I can't do that. I can't go there. I can't go here. I can't.
Right.
And then you're just the annoying asshole friend that can't do anything, can't go anywhere, can't.
Yeah.
So I just kind of had to keep my mouth shut in the beginning and be like, meh, let's just go and I will figure it out later.
I agree with that. I think for the most part, and I'm saying this from a person who can eat almost anything,
you think you
think
can.
I can, right. That I think that you could probably find something at every restaurant, but I don't know what it would be like to have really severe allergies or immune problems where I can't eat that stuff. Like, it's easy for me to say, oh, you can always find something, but I don't want to send you to a restaurant that you're going to have water and cardboard either.
I've actually gotten pretty lucky with the people that I surround myself with. They genuinely care.
Okay.
Not all of them. In the beginning, I learned, sadly, really quickly who my friends were, because a lot of people stopped inviting us, stopped sending, because I can't drink. So they automatically assume we didn't want to go because I couldn't drink.
Right.
And then it was shortly after my diagnosis that one of my good friends for 20 years had invited me. It was her mom's birthday. All the girls were making a girls' trip to Galena.
Okay.
She says, we're all going to Galena. Do you want to go? I said, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Let's book it. And all of the other girls that we'd all hung out with were shocked that I wanted to go. They're like, we're going to do a wine tour.
Yeah.
Which it blew the guy's mind, because I actually would sniff the wine and then dump it out. He's like, what do you...
Yeah, I'm like I can't.
You're not supposed to drink the wine at a wine tasting. He goes, yeah, but everybody does.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I can't.
You're not
what are they
you're
trying
not
over
supposed
there?
to drink that?
No, you're supposed to sip it and spit it out.
Yeah, well.
I can't even do that.
I'm doing
still,
it all wrong.
We had a blast, but people stopped. And when the Facebook posts came with me at a wine tour with all my girlfriends holding wine glasses.
Sure.
I had exploded with messages about, are you drinking again?
Wow.
Like, well, drinking again implies that I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But no, I would die.
Right.
So no. But
see, one of the things of my idea of master happiness is this: if somebody writes to me, "Are you drinking again?" So you said right away, you're implying I'm an alcoholic, as opposed to, "Hey, did you get better? Are you drinking again?" There's a positive spin, and it's difficult to read what somebody says, and it depends on the attitude we have. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to read this and go, how dare you even question my lifestyle?
Right.
But if you're in a happy mood, you're going to go, oh, no, I wish I was better. No, I wasn't drinking.
Right.
You're hoping the best for me.
And as time passed, I realized surprisingly to me, the common thought was that my liver can get better.
Okay.
Because everybody knows your liver can fix itself, right?
All right. Yeah.
And B, that once it got better, or if I got a liver transplant, that I could do all of the things that I used to do.
Really?
So why don't you just get a liver transplant? Because then you can drink again.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that my whole life, or anybody's life, should be surrounded around alcohol.
Right.
But B, it really doesn't work that way. You can't just get a new liver.
Yeah, you don't pick one up at the corner store.
Yeah, my heart's a little iffy. I'm going to just get a new one. And then I can do everything else I want. I can eat all the bacon I wanted, and it's not going to bother me.
Then it's 6 months later, get another heart.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's actually, they've passed, but there's actually a few people I know that have gone through 2 or 3 livers and a kidney, and like they kept getting liver transplants. And the third time they had gotten a transplant, it wasn't that they had 2 livers and then I think a kidney, but then they had gotten a minor infection and died.
Yeah.
Because that's usually what takes you from a transplant, is that. So
if you've never gone out to breakfast with Mary, you have to go out for breakfast with her.
Okay.
Because it's like an art watching her, because she knows how much sodium she could have in a day.
Interesting.
And then she'll order and she'll tell you how much sodium is in this piece of bread. So I'll have this much of this. How much is in this butter? How much is in this cheese versus this cheese? And so she'll weigh it all out right there in front of you. It's like all mathematic, and she'll break it all down. And she's like, okay, I have this left, and I'm going to now have a cookie with my ice cream tonight.
That's hilarious. and I'm just the opposite. When I go to breakfast, I make sure I finish my plate. I don't.
Oh,
leave
I
anything.
eat.
And then when I
I
see
can eat.
when the waitress is coming by and somebody else like my wife, do you want to take a box for that? And she goes, oh no. I stare at that food like, wait, where is that food going to go?
Yes.
Like, because that could go on back on my plate.
Yeah.
I could eat that here. My wife will still do that. Go ahead, you could have it, or I'll take it home because I'm the king of the leftovers.
See, me too.
Yeah,
well, we don't really have. We never have that many leftovers in our house. That's the one thing that everybody discovers is because I have to watch what I eat. And like she said, when people ask me for help, like you don't want my help. You don't want my help because I'm an asshole and you're going to break my heart. So I will cook for you. I will do everything for you. And then you're going to say, well, you know what? I totally cheated today and went and had ice cream or whatever. I get it. It's not easy. I totally get it. And most times people don't make the change they need until there's a serious life-altering event.
Right.
And I get that too.
And it's got to be super memorable because even a life-changing event, 6 months later, a year later, it starts. Fade. Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to fall back, which I wanted to touch on something you brought up, smoking and alcohol. And I always looked at it. I'm a social drinker. I'm one of those people that I cannot have a glass of wine or anything by myself.
Right.
I've opened bottles of wine, sipped it, going, oh, this is awful. Sat it there. My wife comes home and goes, oh, you're having wine. She pours a glass. I'll pick up the glass and go, oh, this is delicious.
Right.
Okay, I can only drink in a social situation. But I've realized quitting drinking would be easier and quitting smoking would be easier than quitting, or eating healthy because I have to keep eating.
Correct.
So to me, it would be like you have to quit drinking, but every morning you have to have a drink. You can only have a drink.
Correct.
And then you can't have any more. That's why eating healthier is more difficult.
Yep.
Because it's all out there in front of us, all the pretty colors and the designs and the names, and it's all just taunting us. And it's really easy to go, I'll just have this one and I'll diet again tomorrow.
So to add on that, what makes that inherently worse is the fact that we are instinctually driven to find sugar.
Yes.
You go back to the beginning of our evolution and someone found honey.
Okay.
When you have to hunt and gather for every ounce of calories that you consume, you can hunt all day for 10 hours and maybe get 500 calories.
Okay.
So you're gonna be thin because you can't.
Right.
And when you watch cultures that are still tribal and they kill one animal and everybody gets 2 ounces, if that, of meat a week, the rest of it is nuts, berries, whatever they can find to gather.
Right.
So they get very few calories every day. So when they found honey, it's free energy.
Sure.
So we have evolved for eons to have a dopamine kick as soon as we find sugar. Right. But now as an evolved society, we've learned that if you put big, bright, fancy colors on that sugar, we will consume it in masses. So the number one addictive substance in the planet, it's up there with heroin, and we promote it every day. And it's the number one cause of, they actually just did a study, because that's what I do as I geek out on stupid medical studies.
Okay.
And the overwhelming majority of cancers are all preventable. Smoking, sugar, heavy, overweight, like they're all preventable cancers.
Right.
It's not just a random, you're super healthy and you got cancer.
Yeah.
It's all preventable. So when I go and talk to people about how food impacts them, and you talk about what's your bacon. Right. My bacon is to get people to pay attention to what they consume.
Okay.
Because like she said, if you asked me any meal that you put in front of you, I can tell you what you're consuming.
Right. Okay.
I can give you a rough idea.
Oh, I can imagine how irritating you are to eat with.
I don't. But that's the thing is that early on, I wanted to, like when you have knowledge, you want to educate people.
You want to share it with everybody.
And at some point you realize you got to wait till someone asks you.
Right. Exactly.
So you sit there, and the worst is when you're with someone who thinks they're doing well.
Uh-huh.
First trip I went to the grocery store, and there's this lady. She is significantly overweight.
Okay.
And she's shopping. Her cart is full of salads and and they're all pre-made kits, but everything in there looked healthy.
Right. Yeah.
Everything had the heart healthy stamp on it. All the soups had the heart healthy
Right.
stamp on it. The lean cuisines had the heart healthy stamp on it.
Sure.
And I'm looking at it going, you are not doing yourself any favors by anything in that cart other than the tub of lettuce.
Yeah.
And even that wasn't the best option.
Right.
What's Trina say? Sugar is, I can't read that. That's too
It says sugar is added to foods as a marketing tactic to make you want to buy more of it.
Oh,
Definitely.
100%.
And then Derek says sugar is tough. It's in everything.
It is. And if it's not in it, then usually whatever it is converts to sugars in your body.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
We don't need
It
added
is.
sugar. Everything that we eat converts to sugar to make energy.
So how long does it take if I were to drastically reduce my sugar intake? How long does it take for me to suddenly start appreciating the taste of other food? Because I found that I've gone through the whole scenario of I only ate really spicy food and then everything was bland.
Yep.
Until I started developing a taste for food. I did the same thing, a lot of sweets, until suddenly everything just was sour tasting or bad tasting. And it takes a while to retrain your system.
It does. Your palate will change, and it depends on the person. So we lose our taste buds as we age. Starts at about the age of 40.
Okay.
So as we age, we lose taste buds and we lose the ability to taste a lot of flavors.
Okay.
Which is why you see people who are older dump 17 pounds of salt on things because they just don't think it's flavorful, which is why I laugh when you see these cooking shows and you've got 60, 70, 80-year-old chefs judging these contests and they're going, this needs salt.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just 80 and can't taste anything.
Right,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But it does, for me, it was about, probably about 6 weeks.
Okay.
I fasted for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, I didn't drink anything but water.
Okay.
No coffee,
Wow.
no tea, no soda, no nothing. It was literally, you don't need anything. The only thing you need to drink is water. You don't need milk. You don't need coffee.
Okay, sure.
That's it. So it was water. And I would have eggs and chicken and potatoes.
All right.
So no seasonings, no salt, no cheese, no oils, no fats.
Right.
The potatoes were usually boiled. The chicken was usually grilled. It was a very boring diet for 3 weeks.
Yes.
2 things. What I love when someone says, like you, that you can eat anything.
Right.
You don't have the issues I have. You can eat anything you want.
Correct.
Studies are proving more and more now that food and your gut biome is the direct cause for everything that is going on with you, all the way up.
I believe
and
that.
including things like Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So when you fast like that, and I discovered I was sensitive to nightshades.
Okay.
Eggplant, tomatoes, nightshade plants. Some are poisonous, some are foods we eat every day.
Okay.
So if I eat too many of them, and I grow tomatoes, I grow eggplant, or not eggplants,
but you can't
zucchini.
Eat, or
I can eat them.
Okay, but you're sensitive to them. Okay.
So if I eat too many, it starts to make me feel foggy and crappy and like garbage.
Interesting. Okay.
But all my life I've had gut issues.
All right.
So they assumed it was my gallbladder, which I do have a crappy gallbladder. But they've done so many tests since I was young.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben was visiting me in the hospital when we were 15. And gut issues, they couldn't figure out what it was, thought it was my appendix. It wasn't my appendix. They sent me home and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So now fast forward, my liver fails and I go through this fast and discover I'm sensitive to certain things.
Okay.
And I discovered what foods I can eat. Like I hate bananas. It's no secret if you watch my show, I despise bananas.
Really?
I eat 2 bananas every day.
Wait,
and
you eat 2 bananas every day?
I do.
All right.
I hate them with a passion.
Wow.
I like banana bread.
Okay.
But I despise bananas.
Bananas. Interesting.
But it is the fastest way for me to get a long-lasting energy boost.
Okay.
And I need the potassium.
Sure.
Potassium helps my body eliminate sodium.
Okay.
And it helps regulate muscle function so that I don't get muscle cramps.
But there's other foods to get potassium out of that are
If you want the same amount, I'd have to eat almost a whole avocado.
Okay. What about spinach? Isn't that?
Have you ever looked? So if you picture a tub of lettuce, right?
Yes.
You get this big, giant shoebox size tub of whatever lettuce.
Right.
If you look at the serving size, it's like 3 servings.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Okay.
So you have to eat half of that box.
Yeah. But see,
Who's going to do that?
I love spinach. Those big tubs of spinach. I can't eat the big tub of spinach, and I can eat it raw and cooked. And so,
I can eat it, but I can't eat a whole freaking shoebox of
so
spinach.
I grew up because I love food. So we grew up. Had a lot of spinach in my house. My dad loved spinach, but we got spinach two ways: either in a can or the frozen block of spinach.
See, the block of spinach tastes better than the cans.
So my entire life, that's what I thought spinach looked like. Years ago, I was at somebody's house, and they said, "Do you like spinach?" I go, "Oh, I love spinach." They pull out raw spinach, which I have never seen in my life.
That's like asparagus.
I'm talking about, this is me as an adult, maybe not 7-10 years ago, something like that. Pull it out, and I go, "Oh, I've had the other kind of spinach." Okay. I'm like, "What is this?" And she goes, "You want me to wilt it?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, why would,
Yeah.
I'm going to," and all
It
of a
sounds
sudden
so
I was
gross.
like, "Oh my God, it turned into spinach." Right? And so since then I love it. And I wilt spinach in bacon grease.
It's the way you should.
Oh my God. And like
or
that
Brussels
whole tub,
sprouts.
that whole tub I can wilt down, and then I'm just happy as hell.
See, but that's the thing is, and yes, I do like spinach. I make a lot of things with spinach. I use it all the time, and I get that. And it is a really good food. It's not very high in it is high in potassium, but not as high in potassium. It's more high in like iron and vitamin A.
Okay.
Which is another thing you got to watch, but that's a whole other show. So the thing is if you're a busy person like we are, you can't sit down and take a 2-minute break and peel an avocado and eat an avocado and then go about your day. And as much as I love avocado, I can't just eat an avocado.
Yeah.
I need it on a sandwich or in a salad or I need it in something. I make a chocolate smoothie with avocado that's amazing.
Okay.
But I can't just peel an avocado and sit there and eat. Whereas a banana, even though I don't like it, I can down a banana in 3 or 4 bites, get it over with like a big giant pill, and it literally gives me the energy boost for about 4 hours.
Okay.
I don't have a crash from it. It's if you eat greener bananas versus yellow bananas, they're lower on the glycemic index. They're really good for people with diabetes.
Greener.
Correct.
Oh, I like really dark.
Everybody
bananas,
does because they're sweet.
Yes.
Oh no, my younger son, he likes them when they're like green borderline yellow.
Oh, they start turning black
That's
spots in my house.
perfect.
Everyone throws them away. I'm like, what happened to the bananas? Oh, they went bad. I'm like, no, they went good.
No.
No, if it has brown spots on it and he takes a bite, he's like, it's too sugary and he'll throw it away.
Really?
He's got a sour palate.
Wow.
He's a good kid. Does he like spicy stuff too then?
No. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know, because he's at that age where he's not very adventurous with his food tastings.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless like somebody that's not me gives him the food. I'm sure if you cooked something and gave it to him, he would taste it.
Right.
But
interesting how you talked about the avocado. Now, I know that I have a food addiction. Mm-hmm. I like, it's funny, people are like, what do you eat? And I said, I don't necessarily eat for taste. I also eat for temperature and texture. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like the way certain foods feel in my mouth. I like sometimes they've got to be really warm, sometimes very cold. So I eat for all these reasons beyond nutrition.
Can you eat just one thing, or do you need, I can't eat
one
thing.
Well, this is what I was going to say was, I kind of said, I'm going to use my addiction to kind of help me. I'm not going to say I'm not the healthiest eater. I might look overweight, but I found radio adds 20 pounds to me. Okay. So what I can do, I am one of those kind of people that I go, I want to eat something really quick. I don't want to go through sometimes the labor of preparing something. So I am the type of person, without a doubt, I will cut open an avocado
and just eat it.
Pull the pit with a spoon like I'm eating a pudding cup. Okay.
See, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but because of the key component is the potassium for me.
Okay.
I need large quantities. And the funny thing is again, another study I read, they have a dietary guideline that says you should have this amount of fat, this amount of calories, this amount of whatever vitamins, potassium, sodium, everything is laid out and says you should have this recommended daily dosage. Right. Depending on which source you go to, those vary greatly.
Sure.
But potassium, you should consume 4,000 or 5,000 milligrams of potassium. I think it's milligrams, it might be grams.
That's
every day.
Big jump.
It is, it is. But because I deal in milligrams with sodium, it's
okay.
Sometimes unless I'm actually looking at the statistics, I don't want to confuse people because potassium can stop your heart. So you really need to pay attention to this stuff. But you need a lot of potassium every day. And they've discovered that when people cut out salt and use, because the number one salt substitute is potassium chloride.
Okay.
So when you have salt on things, it's sodium chloride.
Right.
If you cut out salt, you still need salt. You have to have a certain amount, but usually you get it enough, about 500 milligrams from food,
Sure.
period.
Okay.
So you don't have to add it. But when you have things that are labeled low sodium, it's almost always potassium chloride that's added to give you the salted flavor.
Gotcha.
The fear is that you can overdose on potassium. It's the last thing they stick in your arm for lethal injection.
Okay.
You have to have a driver's license to get pills.
How much potassium would be?
So that's the thing.
I'm not trying to find how to overdose. I want to know so I don't go there.
That's the thing is it's a lot.
Okay.
And it does, I mean, if you're on medication, it makes a big difference because there's things called potassium sparing medications.
Okay.
So if you're on water pills to eliminate excess water because of heart conditions, liver conditions, whatever, they literally make you pee out all of your water, which also takes all of your nutrients.
Sure,
and if it takes your potassium, which helps regulate muscle function, it will stop your heart.
Okay.
So
wow. Okay.
That's why they have potassium sparing. So it saves all the potassium and doesn't let you eliminate any of it. And then if you're eating 15 bananas, you can also stop your heart because too much or too little is this fine balance. But you do what they've proven is because they were worried about that with all these salt substitutes that are potassium chloride.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people are overweight and on blood pressure medications. You're going to start killing people if all they're doing is eating salt substitutes. Right. They found out that in the past, we used to eat fruits, berries, and all the stuff. So our potassium was way higher than what they're actually saying our daily recommended should be.
Okay. So
they're finding that it's actually, we can tolerate much, much more than what had originally thought. But that's where, back to you don't know how bad you feel until you feel better.
I couldn't agree more.
So when you talk about what's your bacon. So what is your bacon?
Okay. So
and I got a reason for asking you that because I want to tell you what my bacon is.
I know we talked about it. We didn't. People who are listening probably don't understand what the question.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So what is? So we got to get to where did the bacon come from?
The line.
Then
what's your bacon?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll give you the short version of it. Is going to school my entire life, working. I hated Monday mornings. I hated waking up, and it was stressful, and I could feel it as I was growing older. I could feel it in my stomach. I could feel it in my heart. I was getting headaches. It was that stress was affecting me physically.
Sure.
And so I see this with kids and other workers, the people who worked for me when I was in corporate America, the people who worked for me, they were saying they hated Sunday nights. They hated Monday mornings. So I said, what would have to happen? What would I need in my life to look forward to Monday mornings and Tuesday mornings and Wednesdays? And so I said bacon. To me, it was funny. Just, wow, if I was going to have bacon the next morning, it's exciting. Now I talked to multiple doctors that I've gone to, and they go, "You can't have that much bacon." Right. So then I find another doctor, and I just keep moving. Find
your justifiable license.
Exactly.
I'm going to find somebody who's going to give me the answer that I want.
I am looking for some place in the Mediterranean that serves bacon, so I can go on the Mediterranean diet.
Right. Oh my God.
All right. So anyway, the idea is obviously I'm not eating bacon every morning.
Right.
I'm smart enough to do that because I also don't want to get bored of it. I want it to be a treat. So bacon is an acronym for me. And I still push the idea of telling people to discover what's important.
Right.
And so the main acronym for bacon, and I'll do this quickly, is B. It means believe in yourself. You are special no matter what it is. And I know a lot of people hear this and they go, "Oh, I've heard this before." Listen to whoever's telling you that because it's the truth. Believe in yourself. A, anticipate obstacles. Obstacles are going to pop up, and don't wait for them to happen. Anticipate them coming up so you can plan for them. C, confront your fears. And that's the only way to beat those obstacles. And the way you confront your fears is O, observe and learn. Okay? Because every obstacle that we run into, someone else has faced. Watch how they've done it and you'll be better at it. And then lastly, if you can do all of that, N is nudge other people to do the same thing. All right. So my goal in life is just that. I want to help people become happier. All right. I want them to find their bacon, that thing that gets them excited. And I want them to share that with other people. Because we are, as a society, we love sharing bad news. Okay, we love sharing the doom and gloom. And we want to tell everyone what they're doing wrong. I want to say, you know what? If I'm doing 1,000 things today and I did one thing right, somebody congratulate me on that one thing. That's so when I say what's your bacon, I want to know.
Your bacon is your bacon.
Yeah. That's it. So I don't care. Whatever you do, there's people going, I know a guy who goes, I love fishing.
Yeah.
And I go, so when you go to bed at night and you think you're going to get up early to go fishing, he goes, oh, I sometimes can't even go to sleep.
Right.
And I go, that's what we should have every night.
Right. And it's funny because I think my bacon has turned in, it's always been very similar to that.
Okay.
Is always wanting to help people find their happiness.
Yeah.
And that stems from, I almost lost my husband to a car accident, nursed him back to health. I've been in the situation twice in my life having a morbidity and mortality conversation with my doctors.
Okay.
I should already have a liver transplant. I had a 50-ish, there's like, depending on who you talk to, anywhere from 50 to 80% chance of survival. My first year when my liver failed.
Okay.
So my perspective has always been fairly optimistic, but it switched to, if I die now,
Yes.
are you satisfied with the day you had with me yesterday?
Yeah. Yes.
So everybody puts ourselves last. So I've always been that person that wants to help other people. But now that I realize how much impact we can have on ourselves,
Yes.
and how little we care for ourselves. So when I watch all my friends, turning 40, and every week more and more of my friends come to me and say, I know you've done your show for a few years now. I need your help.
Okay.
I got to pay attention to your show now because my doctor just said this. I got to start paying attention because my doctor said this. And we waste, was that line? Youth is wasted on the young.
Yes.
So my bacon has become, if I can get you to pay attention to what you're putting in your body,
Okay.
Physically and emotionally,
Yeah.
like if you can pay attention to who you surround yourself with,
Yep.
who you influence, and what you consume, and what you share.
Right.
So Pete, God blessed him. He, our old co-host, the old station of the owner that had passed last Thanksgiving, he used to tell me, and whenever someone comes up to me and says, I didn't really change anything, but I start reading labels.
Okay.
And that's my bacon.
That's cool.
Because when you talk about me being able to tell you what's on your plate,
Yeah.
when you start looking at the back of a bottle or a can or whatever and say, okay, so if I tell you that you should have 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day.
Okay.
So treat it like money. You've got $2,000 to spend every day. Telling you that you need to watch calories or fat or sodium and have you watch that, you're not invested in that.
Right.
You're not going to pay attention to it. But if I tell you got $2,000 to spend.
Sure.
And you say,
it's
this is $200 out of my day. Do I want that $200 or that $200?
Exactly. Okay.
So if you take a pat of butter, it's about $100.
Okay.
Out of your day.
I think I like that.
A steak.
Yeah. Is
$100.
Oh, wow.
So do you want just a plain old run-of-the-mill grilled steak with some pepper on it?
Yeah.
Or a pat of butter?
I'm going to go 400. I'm going to put butter on the steak.
I need to teach you how to grill without using butter, because you can use other things like bacon grease.
There you go. All right. I love it.
So, but that's where, when you start to get people to pay attention to what they're consuming,
yes,
it affords you the ability to make more informed and better decisions.
I think I like that. The tough part is understanding. How do I know the pat of butter is 100?
Once you start reading the labels,
okay,
I didn't read a book and go, okay, now I know that
sure,
this, and this or that. We eat the same things.
Right.
You look in your fridge, you look at your grocery bill, you buy the same things for the most part all the time.
Sure.
You buy the same lunch meat, you buy the same cheeses, you buy the same whatevers. I learned, like most people, I'm lactose intolerant.
Right. But you still go to ice cream day?
I do.
All right. Good for you.
And I love cheese.
Okay.
Self-proclaimed cheese whore. Okay. Love cheese. And I've had people tell me, you don't have to make your food so low sodium. And I do, because I don't want a serving of cheese, which is an ounce. It's like a tablespoon.
Yeah.
Who eats that?
Right.
It's half a bag of shredded cheese. I want that half a bag of shredded cheese. So in order to afford that in my diet, I make my food super healthy on this end so I can put cheese on it or bacon grease or whatever I want in it.
I just like the how much bacon grease you're really digging into the bacon grease.
I have 4 tubs of white pork lard in my freezer right now. That is the benefit of buying a pig whole from the farm is you get the lard.
Nice.
Don't you identify as a grilled cheese sandwich?
I do. Crusty on the outside, gooey on the inside, and everybody loves a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yes.
So that works for me. I can't read what Lisa says.
Lisa had said, I agree, Mary. When my husband died, I changed my view. It is each day, if I meet my maker, I will be proud, whether it be self-care and growth or helping someone else with theirs. I like the Monet analogy. Makes it...
Yeah.
I'm guessing she had a typo.
Right.
Oh. Monet.
I was like, I missed that. I must have fallen asleep.
Makes it more brain relating.
And
I get it.
Yeah.
With your $2,000.
Money. So that's where you start to learn. So right now you now have the knowledge that you should have about 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day.
Right.
So you know your salt diet's $2,000.
Okay.
So if you look at the back of anything, and you go to buy a can of soup, and so this one's 1,000,
right,
and this one's 400. You're going to start to learn where those things and where those pitfalls are to make better choices.
Okay, so now that's sodium, but don't I have to be looking at all these other things? Shouldn't I be doing the same thing with sugar and all this other stuff?
You do.
That's where I'm saying it's easy for someone like me to start and go, I'm going to quit. This is too much work.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's why...
Like, I want you to give me a shortcut. I want you to tell me, here's the secret.
Because if all you're doing is paying it... So here's the thing. So let's go gluten-free, for instance.
Okay, sure.
Everybody knows gluten-free. Everybody knows someone who claims to be gluten-free or has to be gluten-free because they have an allergy or whatever they think they have.
Yeah.
They went on a gluten-free diet and they felt better. Why? Because to eat gluten-free, you have to eat predominantly real food.
Okay.
Because gluten is in breads, in breadings, in fried foods, and things like that, and processed foods.
It's in soy sauce too.
Correct.
Right. I didn't know that.
Yes.
But my cousin and my other cousin's wife, they both have celiacs. So she
they
reads
use
all the
aminos?
Ingredients of everything when we make stuff.
Right.
But that's the thing. So a lot of people use coconut aminos instead of soy sauce for those reasons. But if you are paying attention, so whatever it is you pick, if you pick salt, even though you're not on a salt diet, and you start looking at things to have lower sodium, you're going to inherently end up eating healthier food.
Right. Certainly. Yes.
So because there is, to be where I'm at, and people have asked the same thing, they want a shortcut because everybody wants a shortcut. And I get it. I want a shortcut.
Right.
I don't have a choice because if I try to take a shortcut, I'm going to end up back on medication and I'm going to end up back dealing with liver issues because I have 3 to 5% of a functioning liver. Okay. There's no fixing that. There's no going back. The 3 to 5% that I have can get stronger.
Okay.
But it will never be a whole liver.
Gotcha.
It just won't. So I do have to, if you want the complicated version, I have to watch my potassium and magnesium, my iron, my protein, my fats, my sodium, my caloric intake, and I have to watch all of it and balance all of it to be able to be where I'm at and not be on medication.
Right.
Somebody who doesn't have advanced cirrhosis that just wants to be healthier, when you start paying attention to the back of a jar and inherently you start noticing other things. So if you're looking at the sodium and the sodium, you're like, well, I want this because I want it. And soup, in all honesty, even the low sodium soup in the grocery store tastes like garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what they do to it. I make low sodium soup and it tastes really good.
Okay.
I don't know what they do to theirs, but when it's low sodium, it just tastes like garbage.
Okay.
Because it's in a metal can.
Probably. It does. It tastes like a tin can. But after a while, I started paying attention to the sugars.
Okay.
So you look at a soda.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're supposed to have like 50 grams of sugar.
Okay.
Which is a Coke.
Okay.
Not even a big Coke.
Yeah.
It's like a little Coke.
Right.
So I blow through all of my allowable sugars in a day with my breakfast.
Okay.
Every morning. I have 2 cups of coffee.
Right.
Which is an actual coffee cup, not a cup.
No,
so
of course
it's more
not.
like a cup and a half or 2 cups of coffee.
Sure.
So technically I have 4 cups of coffee and about 9 servings of creamer.
Oh, okay.
Because nobody drinks a serving of creamer. If you're a creamer person, You don't put a tablespoon of creamer in your coffee cup.
Right.
You put like a quarter cup of creamer
Yeah.
in your coffee cup.
So I just drink black.
So,
Like,
and I did for a long time. But you take those 2 cups of coffee with yogurt and fruit and honey.
Okay.
It's a really healthy breakfast. But I blow through in excess of my allowable sugars with that breakfast every single morning. So everything I eat for the rest of the day is above and beyond the sugar content that I'm supposed to consume.
Wow. Okay.
So for somebody, and that's what stinks when you watch sugars or someone tells you to go low sugar. That is why so many people who have diabetes and all these other things have artificial sugars and artificial sweeteners, because if you eat fruit and vegetables all day long, you're going to blow through that.
Right. Yeah.
Very quickly. So if you're at least paying attention to the labels to make healthier choices, it's going to impact you and it's going to benefit you.
Okay.
But when you cut out salt, it allows you to be able to taste the food.
Okay.
It just takes a significant amount of time.
When I was a single dad raising my kids and I would bring them to the grocery store, I played this role with high fructose corn syrup.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I told them they could have anything they want in the grocery store as long as that was not on the label. Oh, and it was great because then after a while they'd run up and down the aisles looking, and then they, after week, they go, "I hate this game."
Yes.
How about this? This says just fructose. It doesn't say high. Nope. Doesn't.
Same thing.
Can't have it. And it was that to me was the whole reading the label thing, just teaching us that. But again, and I'm going to be honest, I'm human, and so I'm going to fall backwards on it. I have gone on every single diet you can imagine and saw success in it, but then said, no, I really want a variety of food.
Correct.
And so what I'm doing now, which really helps me, is I realize my activity is a lot less than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't deserve an enormous amount of calorie intake.
Right.
So I limit my calorie intake, and I suddenly go, oh, wow, I'm slowly losing weight. So it's working like that.
Yep.
And I will do this whole thing. Next to bacon, my favorite food is pie. Okay. I love pie, almost any type of pie.
See, I like ice cream.
So, well, I'm lactose intolerant. And so
sorbet then. I don't know.
Yeah, no, see, to me, it's like, I don't want fake ice cream. I wanted ice cream.
You don't want
pie,
slushies. That's exactly what sorbet is. It's just frozen ice.
So, but for pie, and so I know how I eat. So a pie, my wife will buy me a pie, or I'll go somewhere else, farmer's market, and get this beautiful pie, and I'll have a quarter of the pie. That'll be a slice, right? I'll eat that, and then the next day I'll say, now I deserve another one. So I'll finish the pie in 4 days by myself, and everyone in the house knows that's my pie. No one is allowed to touch it, okay? But then
your bacon, it's pie.
Right, and so part of me also says, if I eat it quickly, then it's done. It's not in the house anymore.
It doesn't count.
Right, exactly. And so I know that about myself, and so I have that dilemma in my head when I'm seeing this pie. Should I buy this pie? I know I'm going to, it's going to ruin me for 4 days. Okay.
Yeah, it will. And that's the thing is you do. So that's what's messed up is every time I start to, that proverbial fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
I guess the silver lining is I feel so unbelievably bad.
Right.
Not literally or emotionally, physically, when I consume something that I shouldn't be consuming, I feel like I'm going to die.
Okay.
Like it's bad. So it makes me not want to have it anymore. What have we got?
We have a question. Lisa wants to know, does raw organic sugar actually have any value nutritionally?
So that's kind of a trick question, because sugar has a value. And you're not supposed to consume it in excess, but raw cane sugar versus processed white sugar is pretty much along the same lines as table salt versus pink Himalayan sea salt. Sugar is sugar and salt is salt.
Okay.
So people always say, well, I only eat Himalayan pink salt, or I only eat raw sugar cane.
Okay.
If you're going to make a better decision, the Himalayan salt is better than the table salt, and the raw sugar cane is better than the processed.
Okay.
But you're going to get more nutrients if you literally lick the skin of a banana than by the amount. They're the millions of percentages. When you break it down, it's like 0.00006
Okay.
magnesium.
All right.
The only reason is because it's not processed to strip all of that to make it nice and pretty and white.
Gotcha.
So it has trace amounts of those other minerals. So
yes.
The answer to the question, is one healthier than the other, is technically true.
Okay.
Because it has more mineral compounds, it has more nutrition. But you'd have to sit down with like 4 cups of sugar to get any kind of noticeable nutrient value.
So one is a little bit better, but
right. So if you're going to
anyway.
pick one or two, the nice thing is if you have a sugar grinder or a salt grinder, when you sprinkle something on top, you get that punch right away.
Right.
So if you cook with salt or sugar, you have to add copious amounts of it to taste it.
Right.
So if you just sprinkle a little bit of salt or a little bit of sugar on your watermelon, you taste it because it's the first thing that hits your tongue, so you get the benefit of it. And you can use a very, very, very tiny amount and still get that hit that you wanted.
Okay.
You still get the satisfaction. So I have Himalayan sea. Actually, I opened the cabinet. There's a big giant tub of salt because Ben made weed killer out of it. It's the first time we've had salt in our house since 2015.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do have Himalayan sea salt that I will put on, like my tomatoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Occasionally when I can afford it, because that one little crack of sea salt coats the tomatoes.
Sure.
And I can have that hit. There are some people who can't even afford that luxury.
I put salt. There's only one thing I add salt to, and that's hard-boiled eggs.
I was going to say everybody does hard-boiled eggs.
But I love the taste of tomatoes.
So do
just
I.
like
I
that.
grow them.
I'm sitting here as you're talking. I'm thinking I don't add any sugar
tomato
to
sandwich.
Anything. Oh, I forget
it's like
the tomato.
The best thing on the same.
Now you have to have a tomato and spinach sandwich.
I've had those.
There you go.
Had those.
That's it.
I had the other day. I didn't have spinach. I had asparagus. That's the other thing. That's one of those things that growing up was disgusting. I didn't realize until I was almost 40 that asparagus tasted good.
Right.
Because it was always in a can.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't.
And the outside was like chewy and held its shape, but the inside was like baby food.
No, and I grew up in a eating a lot of fried food in my house, growing up like that. And so asparagus was it just sounded like it was a luxury food.
Right.
We can't afford asparagus.
My mom said it was a treat. We got asparagus,
and
she breaks out this can of asparagus, and it's like, do we have Velveeta?
No.
Put like 6-inch layer of Velveeta on my asparagus.
No, there was another treat I used to love, and you brought it up, and it's so sad how this connection, because you're talking about your liver.
Yep.
I love eating liver.
Liverwurst.
Oh, liverwurst. Oh, you know what?
So good.
And now you're probably going to yell at me. Liverwurst and peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Is that delicious?
Peanut butter burgers.
Oh.
Peanut butter sauce on a burger.
So you should,
Not me.
mix avocado, banana, and peanut butter together.
See, that sounds amazing.
Oh my God. And you know what I love about those kind of things, like a peanut butter and liverwurst sandwich, or the avocado and banana and peanut butter, is you never have to share it because no one is going to even want to try it.
No one looks like, I'm going to try that. That's
and
funny.
same with when we would eat liver.
Trina says she's having flashbacks. That's my sister.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, eating liver, only my father ate it.
My mom.
And I ate it. And so my mom would cook it for him and I would eat it. And I think as a young kid, I'm number 6 out of 7 kids. So I got this addiction to food, and I would eat almost anything because it was like we had to fight for the food on the table. And so I just said, I'll eat anything. And so I started liking the foods that my dad only ate so I could have additional meals, like those things that no one else was going to eat.
Right. Yeah, no, we didn't have to fight for food because no one wanted to eat in our house because my mom was a horrible cook.
Oh, I don't think my mom was the gem at the cook.
Yeah, she
as a
was
cook,
a horrible cook.
It wasn't until I was later in life that I realized pork chops could be juicy.
Right?
They
weren't this thick.
Right? And they were
That's
shoe
why
leather.
Everybody loved the gristle on the
like
side.
That, right?
It was the only part that had any flavor that wasn't burnt.
And it was just shoe leather.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So there's a new program called Noom.
Okay.
That teaches you a little bit more about the psychology behind food. So it's funny watching these commercials because there is a lot of this old school mentality of clean your plate.
Right.
Because that came from, famine when you had no clue when if you were going to fill your fridge. And then you have people who are, my kid's picky and I want to force everything down their throat. And so it's funny to see how, like you said, food is everything.
Yeah.
You want to go on a business meeting, let's go to lunch, let's go to breakfast, let's go have coffee, let's go do something. It's surrounded, or let's have a drink.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by food and alcohol. And nobody ever takes time until they have a major medical issue or they have someone close to
Right.
them that's had a major medical issue. And that's why I say it is without something driving. I can, sitting here on a good day, I can feel my liver in my chest.
Wow.
So if I slouch down,
Yeah.
I can, it's painful for me. It's a giant rock it's the
Okay.
largest organ. It's
Yeah.
a giant rock of scar tissue in my chest.
And you can feel it. Wow.
So I can feel it push down on my internal organs and
Okay.
push on my ribs. It's not pleasant. But even with that,
Yeah.
I will still go home and have ice cream.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
I know
yeah.
where I am. But I also recognize that I need to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've already
Sure.
cheated death a couple times and watched people close to me cheat it, to know that there's a certain balance that you need to obtain
Right.
of
Right.
caring for yourself,
Mhm.
but having your bacon too,
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially, because you need both.
And I like how you just said you got to care for yourself, because you were saying, what we do is we go out of our way and we look at how can we make other people happy.
Right.
But it's that adage of on an airplane,
Right.
when
You're
the
useless.
masks come down, they always say, grab the mask for yourself first
Right.
before you help someone else. And that's really important. I've got to take care of myself so I'm strong enough,
Mhm.
physically, mentally, emotionally, so that I can take care of other people.
I was perusing through your website and I
Yes.
saw your random acts of kindness.
Yes.
And I love that. Every once in a while, I will send out like an email or a text message. And it started because I give Starbucks a lot of grief
Okay.
because it's not healthy. It's not. I mean, their coffee is fine. Coffee is
Right.
actually really healthy for you. It actually reduces your risk of liver disease and other.
Okay.
It's loaded with antioxidants, but it's also fat soluble. So as soon as you put flavorful creamers in it,
Yeah.
you lose all the benefit.
Sure.
But I tend to, I took it from where they were doing that pay it forward all the time.
Right, right.
If somebody's in line at Starbucks, pay it forward to somebody else.
Yeah.
Don't give the guy behind you a $7 coffee. Take
Right.
the $7 and go give
I
it to
agree.
somebody else who needs $7. So what I started doing is, instead of the monetary thing, I would spread that kindness. So I would send somebody out of the blue. The last one I sent, and she sent me a message. She goes, I'm literally having the worst week of my life. And I just opened my email and there's a $20 gift card from you for Starbucks and says, have an amazing day.
Nice.
She's like in tears. And
Because
I sat there for 20 minutes listening to her tell me about
Right.
how, like, all right, well, here we are.
Yeah.
This is my morning. Sorry, I'm late for my appointment. Going to listen to someone tell me how awful their day was,
Now-
but how awesome I made their day.
Exactly.
for that random act of kindness.
And doesn't it just make you
It
feel
does.
good? It makes us feel so good. There's a Chinese proverb that says, if you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, go fishing.
Right.
If you want to be happy for a year, win some money. But if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, help other people.
Right.
And that's it. And I push the random acts of kindness one step further, because I love helping people and doing something. And then you get that joy. I get to share their smile. But I also encourage people, do something, but don't wait around for the thank you.
Yep.
Because it teaches you the purpose of this
Correct.
is to help them. The purpose is not so I get a thank you.
Correct.
And I think that brings me so much joy. Not being able to see, but imagine, wow, I did something and they're really happy about it.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. Oh, we are down to a minute and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where can people find you?
You can go to my website, which is masterhappiness.com. On there's all kinds of things. I coach. I'm a business life coach. In other words, I help businesses improve the life of their business. I do employee retention. I do sales and marketing coaching. I'm a motivational speaker. So masterhappiness.com, there's all types of links in there to What's Your Bacon, which is my business coaching. There is a section, Marty's Motivators, where I teach kids how to get over their fear of stage presence. And I teach a class, Debate Without Hate. So everything can be found there.
I love it. So hopefully we'll have Marty back on our show here in the near future.
Awesome.
I've got a few more guests coming up next week. And then, of course, always please follow us on YouTube. The more subscribers we have, the more luxuries we have for 216thenet.com and mylowsolifestyle.com. And thank you, Marty Jalove.
There you go.
From Master of Happiness, for discussing how food has impacted you and what is your bacon. And now I'm
Thank
my
you.
bacon.
Thank you,
I wanna-
Mary Schepp.
Mary Schepp. And apparently on one aspect of the spectrum this morning, I am Mark Schepp. And then according
Mary
to Marty
Schepp.
here, I am Mary Schepp. And Joe calls me Sheppy.
There you go.
Sheppy. He adds an
Awesome.
E on the end of the thing.
Beautiful.
So you guys have a wonderful time. We will see you next week, same day, same time, same channel. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us.
Bye-bye.
All right, you guys just got caught in the net with 21.6 The Net. Come back at 3 p.m. for In the Know with Steph and Joe. And thanks and goodbye.
We are out.
Awesome.